evening, dobra večer, one and all, and welcome to season 2 of the Oz Crow Soccer Show. My name is Tonchi Prusats, and I'm one half of the dynamic duo that brought to you the Oz Crow Soccer Show in season 1. The other half, unfortunately, he's a little bit ill tonight, Josip Zilic, but he was going to come in live from Alco Park in Geelong, in the northern suburb there of Lara, because tonight North Geelong are playing a crucial Australia Cup clash against Altona City. We will be crossing a little bit later on at about halftime, which is in about 15 minutes there, and we'll be joined by a fella called Nick Kosdra, who is the first team player for the North Geelong Warriors team. He's unfortunately injured, but he will be telling us what is going on. But tonight, folks, major announcement. Josip, unfortunately, due to his new role as Football Operations Director at North Geelong, as well as a few other personal and business-related things, tasks and commitments, he's unable to, in 2023, be my right-hand man or left-hand man, or however you want to talk it like that. So, the big announcement, folks, none other than the legend of Sydney, MC Ante Grabovac, is going to be the new co-host. He's looking a little bit grainy, but I think he's done that because he's used to the radio. He's not so much used to TV and the visual, but he's done that on purpose. Ante, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Taunchy. What a wonderful welcome. Really appreciate it. And thanks for inviting me to be on the show with you. And looking forward to the next, 25 or 26 weeks or however long we are doing this. It should be a lot of fun.
That's right. That's what we're planning on, folks. 25 episodes minimum this year, and that all depends on you, the clubs out there in Streamland, Radioland, whatever you want to call it, and sponsors. We really do need businesses, small businesses, to jump on board and help us out and support us. Ozcrow Soccer Show at gmail.com is our email address. Get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. And we are going live, and hopefully in the comments section, folks, pop down. Where are you from? We've already got a lot of people there. Welcome back, guys. Hi, guys. Hello, all of that kind of stuff. We'd love to know where you're actually tuning in from. If there's someone from Croatia, in fact, tuning in, even better. But Ante, we go back a long way, mate. We go back to the old NSL days when you were the Sydney Croatia media manager. I was the Melbourne Croatia media manager. We struck up a friendship, and that friendship went on to the Croatian Herald days. And now we've gone almost full circle, and we're back involved in the media side of things, aren't we?
Yeah, that was a quarter of a century ago. I can't believe that, Taunchy, around late 90s and all that sort of stuff. So were good times, though. We had a lot of fun, and obviously none of this technology was available.
No.
So, I was doing radio in Sydney here, and we wouldn't even dream of, connecting with Melbourne, and here we are. So it's just brilliant. So
yeah,
should be good.
Folks, it's episode 31 of the Oz Crow Soccer Show. We will be this year bringing you lots and lots of news, views, interviews with, everything that makes our Australian-Croatian kaleidoscope, if you like, soccer kaleidoscope, just so unique, so passionate, so different, so proud. And that's what we're going to be all about, pushing the positives. Yes, there's always going to be negatives, and we can talk and harp on about that, but we're not going to try and do that. We're always going to push the positive side of things, and it really is a celebration of our culture. It's a celebration of our background, and indeed celebration of everything that we've achieved. And we continue to achieve. We're such a small community and small nation. But Ante, mate, what's on the show first of all tonight? Who have we got coming on the show tonight?
Jeez, let me tell you. First, we've got the news coming up very shortly. I think we're going to do a live crossover to North Geelong, where tonight we've got an Australia Cup match happening. Also, there's a match over in St Albans, and then we've got a couple of very special guests, don't we, Taunchy?
We do. Look, first up, on the weekend just gone by, the I&D Cup was held, or the I&D Day, and it's basically a pre-season get-together of all 5 Croatian community clubs in Victoria and their junior clubs, junior teams. So the Mini Roos and their juniors, sub NPL juniors, whatever. St Albans Dynamo was the host, as they are every year, and we're going to have a man who's absolutely synonymous with the junior side of things there at Churchill Reserve. Stjepan Gal will be joining us a little shortly. We tried to reach out to the president, Ilya Dragicevic, but we featured him a little bit too much, so we need to kind of mix it up and have someone else involved. So Stjepan will be joining us. Then after that, this club on Monday, which happens to be the 10th of April, or 10. Travan in our lingo, is celebrating its 70th birthday. They are undisputedly the most decorated Australian Croatian club ever, with two national championships to their title. And I tell you what, and there's a lot to talk about with this man. The president of Melbourne Knights, Pavel Yusup, will be talking to us. Ante, about a month ago, the Croatian Soccer Federation, Football Federation, led by Marijan Kustic, the president, Zlatko Dalic, the man himself, Stipe Pletikosa, Petar Krpan, and Aussie Joe Šimunić, originally from Canberra. They came down to Melbourne and to Sydney. Were you involved in any of that? Did you sort of come along to any of the events up in Sydney?
Well, yeah, I was the MC actually. So that was a biggest sort of honor that probably I've had as an MC. So that was magnificent. Yeah, what a night! It was just.
Tell us about the night, mate, up in Sydney.
Oh, it was brilliant. We first started off with some folklore, and then we ended up with obviously. I mean, I've never seen grown men cry so much. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be standing next to Zlatko Dalic when he was speaking, and just looking across that room and seeing people so emotional. And it was just a month after the World Cup, obviously, and so when the man speaks, you can hear a pin drop, and just every word means a lot. And so it was an incredible night. The whole night went very well, and it was great to have the guys on the couch, as you mentioned. Aussie Joe and Petar Krpan and Stipe Pletikosa. And so it was great to have a bit of a chat with them, along with Zlatko Dalic, and ask them a few very pertinent questions, of course. And it was fantastic celebration. And of course, on top of that, it was 65th anniversary of Sydney United. So it was a brilliant night from start to finish.
Now, our colleague from last year, Josip Žilić, he's watching the show. Big shout out to Josip. Unfortunately, he couldn't be the live cross out at North Geelong tonight. He's got the lurgy, the dreaded lurgy that's got a hold of him, and I don't know what sort of excuse that is, but should come on, Josip. I thought he was a tough Herzegovac, but
Malarakia.
That's it. That's Tomu Fali. But look, the fallout of the Croatian delegation visit to Australia is that on Tuesday, jetting out of Melbourne and Sydney is an Australian Croatian under 14 boys select team that is going to be travelling to Vukovar to take part in an international junior invitational tournament. Now, we'll find out more about that from Pavel a bit later on, because Melbourne, Croatia are the actual organisers, or co-hosts, if you like, of that. They're putting together the whole package and coordinating everything. And I do believe one of the guys that went on a trip about 20 years ago, similarly to Croatia when it was the Kvarnerska Riviera tournament, Josip Lončarić is in fact one of the coaches there. So we'll find out more about that from Pavel. Look, an action-packed show, folks, tonight. A lot to get through. We've got so much to get through, and we're going to start with the news desk, which Ante has prepared straight after the break, guys. Don't go away.
Thank you so much, Taunchy. All right. Have you got the slides in the background?
I have, mate. I have. Here we go.
Here they come. Yeah, let's start out west, where on the weekend, Western Knights had a big 3-1 victory over Forestville, and Guelph, Croatia, came from behind in a big victory against Dianella White Eagles, beating them by 2-1. 2 Jacob Williamson goals. One fantastic free kick at the end gave Guelph the 3 points. Western Knights sit second on the table, and Guelph are seventh. It's only been 2 rounds over in WA, and this weekend, Guelph are at home on Saturday, April 8 at 5 p.m. against Gosnell City, and Western Knights are away this weekend. So
Now,
best of luck to those two.
can I just interrupt there very, very quickly with another news announcement? Another news announcement, auntie. We've got to have them thick and fast this week. One of our advertisers, in fact, one of our sponsors, is a man that's well known to yourself and to myself, an ex-Sydney sider now residing in WA, Slavicek Studio Architecture. They have sponsored next week's episode, and he has nominated Western Knights. So we will likely have the president of Western Knights, Dean Zlendich, and we're working on one other guest. So they'll be on next week. So they'll be able to give us a good rundown of the season so far, both on the field and off the field. But I just couldn't contain myself, mate. I just had to say it. There we go.
You can jump in. That's no problem. And I'm going to jump in and say St. Albans are leading 1-0 in the Australia Cup fixture against Frankston. So that's great news. Hopefully that continues. It's still 0-0 at North Geelong. All right, next up, we move over to South Australia, I do believe, Taunchy.
Yes.
Where Port Adelaide Pirates were at home, but Adelaide Croatia Raiders took the points, and Adelaide Croatia Raiders are leading the table in first position. And their next match is actually tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. at the Croatian Sports Centre. So get on down there if you are in Adelaide and support Adelaide Croatia. Over in Canberra, we had the big Croatian derby, 1-1 between O'Connor Knights and Canberra Deakin, and Pax Manda there scored the equaliser for O'Connor. They came from behind. It's only round one, and they've got the week off already. No Easter games for them, so their next matches are on April the 15th, and there you can see them on screen. And a good crowd there, I heard, about 500 or so for the Croatian derby, which is good for Canberra, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah, in the background we've got a couple of images from that, so we'll be showing that while we continue with the rest of the news details.
Exactly right. So we will move over after Canberra into Wollongong, and we've got the South Coast United. They lost, unfortunately, 5-1 to Bulli. South Coast are not doing too well, sitting second last at this particular point in time. You can see their most recent form, a lot of losses there. Hopefully they'll turn it around on Friday. They play Good Friday on April 7, 2:30 p.m. away to Tarrawanna. So good luck to South Coast there.
Moving along now.
Indeed.
Gold Coast.
So next, we've got the Gold Coast. Yes, their last match was a 1-1 draw against Sunshine Coast in the Premier League fixture, and they are sitting currently in 6th position. And their next game is on Saturday, April 8 at 4 p.m. against Brisbane City. That is in Brisbane at Imperial Corp Stadium. So just up the road for all the Gold Coast Knights fans. Moving on over into Victoria. No, we've already done South Australia. So there we have it. And we've got the Avondale on the weekend. Avondale unfortunately defeated the Melbourne Knights by 3-0. Bentley Greens defeated St. Albans by 4-1, and North Geelong unfortunately suffered a calamitous 0-7 result against Green Gully. As you can see, of the Croatian clubs, the Knights are sitting the highest in 5th position. And then we've got St. Albans in 12th, and in 14th position, we have got North Geelong. So hopefully those fortunes can improve. In NPL2, Victoria, Dandenong actually had a good win, defeating Melbourne City by 3-1, and Dandenong are currently sitting in 10th position. And the Easter Monday fixtures, we're going to be talking a lot more about this particular fixture, but Taunchy's already mentioned it. Monday, April 10, 4 p.m. Get on down there for the Croatian Festa against North Geelong, the big Croatian derby at Knights Stadium. It's Easter Monday, public holiday, 10. Travan. I think Steve Tavanovac is flying down from Sydney and bringing his harmonica. So get on down there. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, I can't wait for that one. That's going to be huge. Now back to your hometown, Sydney, mate. It was a big clash on the weekend, but just didn't go our way. What happened there?
Unfortunately, we went behind after 50 seconds. It was a bit of a defensive error, and Rockdale were able to capitalise, and it pretty much got worse, and we were 3-0 down. Then in the 50th minute, Ante Buckmans unfortunately got a red card. We did get a consolation goal through Antelmi. We did have a couple of extra chances, but unfortunately could not come away with any more basically positions on the posts, so on the goal scoring tally. So it was actually 3-1 in the end against a high-flying Rockdale Suns. And we've got the Easter fixture happening on Saturday, April 8th, 3 p.m. home game against Blacktown City. So get on down there, all you Sydney siders, to watch Sydney United play.
Chance to move up the ladder and catapult a couple of places up. Now, Hurstville Zagreb. This is your club, isn't it? Your home club. How'd they go on the weekend?
They're improving. They've had 2 wins on the trot, so that's been really good. A 2-0 win over Gladesville, and they've also got an Easter fixture on Saturday, April 8th at 7 p.m. versus Granville Rage. So get on down there on Saturday night, and the boys coached by Davor Bajcic are on the improve. In terms of Australia Cup, we already mentioned tonight now playing. We've got St Albans against Frankston Pines and North Geelong against Altona. Still in the Cup, we've got the Knights, we've got Dandenong, we've got the Western Knights, and we've got Guelph, Croatia, and we've got some big fixtures happening tomorrow night. So we have got Strathmore against Bentley Greens. It's Strathnava Reserve. Is that how you pronounce it?
Strathnava Reserve.
Strathnava, that's it. Then we've got the Knights as well against Corio at Knights Stadium. And then on Tuesday, we have got Canberra Deakin against the Monaro Panthers at Riverside Stadium. And Hurstville Zagreb, as we mentioned, against Sydney United at Penshurst Park. And, of course, next Thursday, Sydney United are in action, their first match since, of course, they made the final last year.
Now, the big question on everyone's lips, will the dynamic duo be back commentating Zagreb Hurstville's game next Tuesday night?
The plan is yes, but you'll have to ask Mr. Chavard. But yes, hopefully we will be, yes. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll see what happens. But get on down there to the game because it's great for the boys to support them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, moving along. All right, then. So there we go. There's one last look at that particular slide. And then we go along to what's happening in Croatia. Well, there's a little bit of excitement left in the Croatian League. A week ago, it seemed done and dusted, but slowly for all you Hajduk fans, they're starting to claw their way back into contention. Hajduk did win on the weekend against Šibenik. That man, Marko Livaja, scored 1 goal, 2 assists, and apparently, like, he's just come back from injury, and he's after one training session, he's ripped out a match-winning performance, if you like, really. Dinamo Zagreb drew.
He's on fire.
Yes, Dinamo drew on the weekend against Gorica. Now, Gorica's coach, Željko Sopić, he's a character, isn't he? I love his press conferences because he always pulls punches. He's not scared to hold back. He's absolutely he's what's the word? Entertaining, I think, is the best way to describe it. But it's always good to see what he's got to say. But what's this, Ante? Bomba u Maksimiru, Dinamo Zagreb doveo zvijezdu Brazila. So Dinamo Zagreb has brought a Brazilian star. What is going on?
As you can see, the date on that was at midnight on April 1. So the author was FG, and of course they were trying to trick people to say that Neymar has actually signed for Dinamo Zagreb for next season. But of course, no one took the bait. But yeah, it was interesting, particularly the comments on social media regarding this particular article.
Yeah. Now, anyway, we've got a new segment that we've got, something that you're going to introduce this year. Well, hopefully on a regular basis. Today is the 5th of April. What happened on the 5th of April?
Yes, Taunchy, if you can bring it up in the background there. I mean, on this day in 1987, it was actually round 2 of the West End NSL, if everyone remembers the old West End sponsorship. And on that day, particularly for us in Sydney, I was there at this particular match. It's probably one of the most famous Sydney-Croatia victories, which was a 4-1 result against Sydney Olympic at the St. George Stadium. And if you look at that Sydney-Croatia team, it included, lots of Socceroos at that particular time. Then you had the imports like Vedran Rožić, Ante Rumora, Žarko Ođakov, of course. And this is some footage from that actual match. And you can see the scenes in the background. What's going on. It was a fantastic afternoon and a great big victory.
That was at
And yeah,
St
this
George
particular
Stadium.
goal,
Is
I
that
don't know
right?
if you can see it. This was at the old St George Stadium here. Look at this. Žarko Ojakov just taking the mickey out of Gary Phillips. And then he puts a bomb of a cross in. And then Arte Rumura flying header from just inside the post. And Gary Meyer had no chance. This was just an incredible, incredible day. One of the most spectacular. I mean, yeah, that was beautiful football. And, a star-studded team. And that was actually on this day on April 5, 1987. 36 years ago, Taunchy.
My goodness me.
Look at this. Tony
One of my
Franken
what
picking it up.
one of the most entertaining, Sydney United teams. There's Robbie Slater scoring a goal there as well. Look, I mean,
That is
if you
right.
go through that team, and there's also Melbourne Croatia team there as well. Look at some of the legends there: Robbie Dunn, Josip Biškić, Davidson, Tony Lemezina from ex Canberra. Then you had Paul Lewis, Ian Wallace, and the tough Scot himself, Terry Hennessy, was the coach there. But you go through the Sydney Croatia team, Rožić, Šabo, Rumora, Ojakov, Arnold, Jurin, Clinch, Slater, Franken. It was just an amazing unit. Now
Yeah,
we're gonna.
they had a great the game before, just quickly, round one, it was actually 6-1 at Sydney United Sports Centre. Sydney Croatia beat Melbourne Croatia. So yeah, that was a big start to the season. So yeah, they had a great start, but then it fell away in 1987.
Yeah, unfortunately. All right, we're going to have to stop everything. We've got a live cross coming up from Alco Park in Geelong. Don't go away. On the line, we've got Nick Kosdra. He's one of the senior team players at North Geelong Warriors, and he's coming to us live from Alco Park in Geelong. Actually, it's in the Lara suburb. Nick, welcome to the Ozcro Soccer Show. How are you?
Yeah, good, Tonchi. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely fantastic, mate. It's halftime there at Alco Park in the big Australia Cup clash. Mate, what's the score? Hopefully some good
1-0
news.
North Geelong at the moment. Yes. Snuck one in probably about 5 minutes before half time. So good start for the boys, and hopefully more to come in the second half.
Yeah. All right, we're going to bring you up on the screen there. Looks like Ante's just a bit of darkness there, and Ante's he must have looks like he's frozen or something or other. Look, Nick, first of all, that's good. That's a good sign. 1-0 at the halftime break. Who did we say that scored the goal? Who was it that scored?
Caleb. So Caleb Mikulic got his first goal for the year.
That's good news. Ant is back. He's back. There we go. Back. Now, mate, on the weekend it was a bit of a disaster. A 7-0 drubbing at the hands of Green Gully. Now, unfortunately, at the moment there was a coaching change as well, and a legend of Melbourne Croatia, Melbourne Knights, and North Geelong from his playing days is the caretaker coach there, Tommy Gavran. Was a real baptism of fire, but yeah, there's a lot of injuries that happened. Yours included. Tell us about that.
We've had a bit of a bad run with injuries this year, with a few boys missing. But I think over the next couple of weeks, we're going to slowly notice some of the boys coming back into the side, really giving us that depth and helping us drive forward, I guess, going forward.
Ante, have we got you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm back.
He's back.
So I see we're leading 1-0. Is that right? Did I miss all that?
Yeah, we're up 1-0. Caleb managed to put one in just before half time, about 5 minutes before half time.
Brilliant. Have we had any other chances?
We did. We had another cutback saved by the keeper on the goal line, probably 2 or 3 minutes after that. And Altona hit the post probably in between there somewhere. It's been the last probably 5 minutes have been pretty hectic down here. It's all been happening. Chances coming thick and fast, but I think we've been the better side.
Yep. Now you're not playing on the main. You're not actually playing on the main pitch. You're playing on pitch 2, which has got far superior lighting there. We can see that in the background. It's absolutely fantastic. What's it like playing an actual competitive match on the second pitch there as opposed to the main pitch? Is it a bit different for the boys?
It always is, especially over the last few weeks. We really haven't been training on it. And if you look at our track record over the last few years, competitive games on this ground, we haven't really done great. Normally going behind, I guess back in the day, I was a little bit more against better opposition. But tonight, I think we really look comfortable. We look very comfortable. They put the sprinklers on for a change. Pitch is nice and greasy, so the ball's still zipping about quite well.
Yeah, yeah. Now, some of the other injuries that you mentioned, there's a young fella who's made a really big impact this year, Kai Williams, who's only a teenager still, and it's his first year. And he started coming off the bench, and he became a regular. And I've commentated some of North Geelong's games, and he's a real excitement machine. He's also injured himself. Is that right?
Yeah, we're not too sure exactly the severity of it yet. I think he needs to go get a scan. I think he got one today, or he's going tomorrow. So I guess we'll find out the severity of it over the coming days. Hopefully it's not too bad, because he's been electric. It's been really good to see a young boy really stepping up into that role this year and filling in the void for a few boys that have been missed out, especially missing players like Lockie McGrath, who just energy and work rate's just been crazy. It's just phenomenal for us for the last few years. So. Really good that he's been able to slot in, but hopefully he's okay.
Now, we've got a big game happening on Monday. North Geelong visiting sister club Melbourne Knights. For Melbourne Knights is big. It's apart from the league game, it's a big game for them because they're, I think, 5th position at the moment. They need a win to stay there, but at the moment, North Geelong in bottom spot desperately needs a win. One win and what is it, seven losses so far.
Yeah, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Too much.
So
I think we just look forward.
It's a must-win game for both sides, but it is the Knights' 70th birthday bash, so it's a huge day. They're planning big celebrations throughout. How much are you looking? Is the side looking forward to that game? Obviously, tonight there was a bit of a distraction with the Australia Cup, but Monday the big deal.
I mean, I guess for a lot of the boys locally. Being able to play against a team like the Melbourne Knights is always a big thing, especially not being able to play against it for a few years. So an occasion like this, I think it's going to have everyone nervy, but good nervy. Everyone's really going to be up for the battle, and I think we just got to enjoy it at the end of the day. Hopefully we can just gain some momentum, use tonight as just a stepping stone, and really start to get things back on track again. It'd be honestly fantastic to get a win against them on Monday on their soil. Then we can steal the celebrations from them. So
fantastic. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So what's the reasons behind the 7 losses? Have we been close in some of the games, or what's been going on, Nick?
Oh, look, it's hard to say. I think you can say injuries have been an issue. You can say many things have been an issue. I think we just haven't been up to it. I don't know. It's a hard one to say. There's a whole number of things that just haven't been there. But I guess we just got to put all that behind us and really just focus on bringing ourselves together as a group and playing like it's like your last game, and really start enjoying it. Because if you're not enjoying it, you're really not going to start playing well. So I think just need that little bit of confidence, and we can really go forward and start pulling some results together.
Now, last year we saw virtually the entire midfield has left from last year. So we've got players like Noah Skorko, who's now doing big things in Croatia, Anthony Leban also in Croatia, Niki Volarovic, Luka Skorko, and they all are doing quite well in Croatia. Obviously Noah, who's playing for Hajduk Split Juniors, we know all about that. But
we can say we developed him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a stepping stone, isn't it? That's right. And it must be pleasing to see, players that you were playing with, last year. Now they're doing it well in Europe. But there's a lot of younger players now coming through the ranks. So we mentioned Kai Williams, but players like George Ellis, Matty Storšić. There's a couple of other players as well coming off the bench as well in recent weeks. That production line. The talent or production line is just seems to be endless down at Elko Park. What's the secret there in these talented youngsters coming up through the ranks?
I don't know what they're putting in the water bottles down here, but there are some really good players coming out of the club. Well, it's actually a funny one. If you look at the squad we've had, bar mate with the boys who have gone overseas, we've had quite a young side through the last 3-4 years, and that's kind of been a progression for us to get to, I guess, where we are, because we've relied heavily on those young boys. And they've matured, especially now. You got, Stolz's playing regular. You got George even young Luka Jurkovic, players like them that have really stood up and helped drive this team to where we are. So it's fantastic to see. It's absolutely, great to see.
And what's the secret behind producing all those youngsters? Is it great coaches? Not just the water. There must be something good that's happening in North Geelong, right?
I think it's a combination of everything. You've got boys that are wanting to play football and wanting to get better. And when you've got that mixed with good support from the club, good coaching, good players around, it just lifts the players up. It's a massive confidence boost for these boys. And if you look at the team that we've got, the dressing rooms, it's unreal. Everyone's welcome, and it's a different place. Honestly, it's just
What about you, Nick, the hammy? How much longer can we expect you to be out of action?
I don't know yet. I'm probably going to start considering retirement at this rate.
No.
But hopefully not too long. It's gotten a lot better over the last couple of days, so it could be just one of those things. Just take it day by day, and I guess see how I'm feeling after a week, maybe 2 weeks. I honestly just want to get back out there. Yeah.
But speaking of getting out there, is the action back on? Has the resumed, or is it still half time?
Not just yet. Still half time. I think they played a few minutes of extra time. I think they played about 5 minutes. So there's a couple still to go.
No worries. Well, keep us up to date with the score throughout the show, and we might even if there's a goal or something like that, we might tune in.
I'll be celebrating down in the corner, so you probably won't be able to get through to me.
Record yourself.
Yeah. Now, before we do go on, I know, Ante, you had something that you want to say. Let's not forget Marcus Trupkovic. He's one of the under-21 players, and he's actually helped us out with the technology today. The reception was a little bit bad there, so we got to mention
support Marcus. Yeah, he's without him, we wouldn't be here.
Big shout out to Marcus Trupkovic there. Ante, you have one last question for Nick?
I was just going to say, Nick, you got a beanie on and stuff. How cold is it down there? Far out.
I mean, it's not as cold as I thought it was going to be, but those brisk football nights are starting to come back in. So I've got the double jacket on. I've got the tracksuit top and the puffer jacket, but I'm sweating underneath. It is quite warm. I don't know if that's nerves for the game, just watching the boys, or it's actually just warmth. But that's winter's starting to kick in, and it's that. Yeah,
thank
definitely.
goodness, because up here in Sydney, we started in early February, and basically there's been no end to the preseason. It's just been summer soccer and 38 degrees. It's just been ridiculous, and soccer's not built for summer, right?
Not good for the players, that type of weather.
No,
definitely not.
Definitely not. Nick, all the very best for the year ahead. Hopefully, guys can get over those injuries. You can get some of the boys back as quickly as possible, and get off the foot of the ladder, because we want Dandenong City to come back up, and we want all 4 Croatian clubs to be in next year's NPL. Wouldn't that be great? That'd be
awesome.
Derby every 2 weeks. That'd be good fun.
That'd be
really good fun.
That'd be more Croatian clubs than Greek clubs.
I don't think I'll be able to eat that many ciabatta, to be honest.
No,
that's the only problem.
No, that's
too
right.
many.
Mate, all the very best, and hopefully that hamstring repairs itself very, very quickly, and you're back out on the park where you belong. Good on you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Keep us
luck,
posted.
Nick. Thank you.
Nick Kosdra, using Marcus Trupkovic's phone, we must add, getting us over the line with that one. There we go, live cross. We're going to hopefully do a lot more of those things throughout the course of the year. Until we're going to take a short break, and when we return, it's our second guest for tonight. He's the junior coordinator at St Albans Dynamo. He's a very colourful character, very much loved down at Churchill Reserve. He's got a massive personality, and his name is Stjepan Gal. He'll be joining us straight after this commercial break. Folks, don't go away. It's episode 31 of the Oz Crows Soccer Show. Welcome back to the Oz Crow Soccer Show. And Ante, watching that advert there, the Slavichek Studio Architecture, despite all the high interest rates at the moment, makes you want to go out and get a mortgage and build a house just and get Robert to design your house. How good are some of those designs?
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. Very talented. As you mentioned earlier, we actually used to do Crow 2000 Radio up here in Sydney together for the early 2000s, and we had a lot of fun together. And Robert's just done fantastic stuff ever since he opened up his business. So well done, and thank you so much for supporting as well, Robert.
Slavichek Studio Architecture is the episode sponsor of next week's episode. And they have nominated Western Knights Football Club to be the club in focus. So we will be devoting quite a fair bit of next week's episode to the Western Knights and their fantastic start to the season. Now, on the weekend, it was a fantastic weekend down at Churchill Reserve in Melbourne's western suburbs, where the annual I&D Juniors Day was held by St Albans Dynamo Soccer Club. And to tell us all about that, the junior coordinator of the Dynamo St Albans Soccer Club, Stjepan Gal, joins us. Stjepan, welcome to the Oz Crow Soccer Show. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, really good to be out talking to you blokes about the weekend. So yeah, it was a really big weekend with a lot of junior sides, and it was great to see the whole Croatian community, sort of the mini Roos. There's a picture of all of us. That was towards the end of the day. So yeah. But it was a really good day.
Workers? Stjepan,
those are those cheeky ones that are at the end, where I just wanted to relax and wind down after, waking up with all our volunteers. So big thank you to our volunteers first and foremost, that helped us throughout the day. So plenty of meat that was cooked and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's come a long way since 2018, putting it. The I&D Gala Day and getting everything together, and getting sort of Strathmore Split, Melbourne Knights, North Geelong, Dandy City, as well as ourselves all together. So it was a really big day.
Now, my little boy was involved in this, and we had a team that played there, and it's great that a lot of us, our generation now, starts to catch up and talk about, once upon a time we used to catch up at Croatian discos and meet at the bar. Now we're, where's my kid? It was running over there.
Times change.
Forget it, and start to catch up. Yeah, it's unreal. That friendship, sorry, Stjepan, to catch up, that friendship that we forged once upon a time at functions and this and that, the next generation now are doing that at events like this, gala events like this. And it must be a really good feeling watching, kids from different clubs that normally don't meet up with each other, renewing friendships and acquaintances and etc.
Yeah, it's it was really good to see all the little kids sort of get together. I think we had 60 teams on the day participating. Yeah. 134 games. From 9 a.m. till pretty much 4 p.m. Out of those 60 teams, we had 11 girls teams, so that was really good from that aspect. But I'm sure like you said, back in the day, it was a lot easier for sort of the Croatian community to get together and share times. And discos and all the rest of it, a Metro and all the rest of those places. But I think it's.
What was the Sydney equivalent, Ante? What was the go-to place up there?
Punchies, King Tom, all of the above. Anywhere where we could get together. But for the girls, how important has the proliferation of the girls teams and obviously the popularity? I mean, this past probably 5 or 6 years, it's become huge up in here in Sydney as well.
Yeah, I think it's probably even more important now that the World Cup's happening this year, and it's probably taken a pretty big step forward with girls football. We as a club are trying to sort of drive as much sort of female participation as we can. Probably this year is the first time in a long time where we've had probably 3 junior teams, participating. So we've got an under 10s, an under 12s, and under 14s team, as well as our senior women. So so it's 4 across the board. So I mean, it's really good, the participation, that's happening across the board. Not just at Dinamo, but I'm sure at all the other clubs. So look, it's been really, really good. So we're happy with that, and the more the merrier, I guess. But yeah, it's good. It's funny, you sort of, parents come back to the club, and you don't see these people for a long time, and it's pretty much like you saw each other, last week. So it's really good.
Now,
It's
just the
brilliant. Days like that are great.
organisation. Yeah, I was going to say just the pure organisation of all that. Obviously, kitchen workers, bar workers, people who are going to set up the pitches and all of that kind of stuff. What's involved in such a massive day like that? When did you actually have to start? Was it the day before, night before, that morning?
Yeah, I think we started putting the goals out the night before. So, I think this is our 2018 or 7th year, but I think COVID sort of interrupted a couple. So I think it's probably our 5th or 6th. But with experience, you sort of learn that you get sort of the goals out on the Friday or the day before, put them up, get all that done. So it's all organised, and then you sort of, you get all the people helping on the Friday. Then, Saturday morning, it's probably just putting up all the tents and all that sort of stuff to make sure that that's all ready to go. So when everyone comes, it's pretty much ready to go. It's not, people running around like it used to be, maybe sort of bringing goals out and sort of, having a few cheeky rakia in the morning or something like that. Yeah, but it's but I think it's really good. And like I said at the start, I think it really brings the community together. Anyone that's sort of part of St Albans Dinamo, Croatian or not Croatian, I think it really brought us together, and it gave a really good insight to parents that aren't part of the Croatian community to sort of see what we're about. And really sort of, I had some really good feedback from a lot of parents that aren't of Croatian heritage, and sort of said, I can't believe that you guys put something like this on. So, it's a win-win everywhere, and everyone's happy on the day. And
it's very important. Absolutely. Did you run out of anything, Stepan? Did you run out of Cevape? Did you run out of anything?
Look, not this year. Last year we ran out. I think last year. This year we didn't. The weather wasn't the kindest to us this time around. So we had a few showers in the morning, and I think maybe we did it on a Saturday because we had Palm Sunday on Sunday. So we did the right Croatian Catholic thing and did it the day before. So we probably had a lot of people that were still working on the Saturday. So we probably lost a little bit of people, but
that's right.
But at the end of the day, the community still come out strong. And one thing I think my mum said, she goes, svaka ti čast, sine, well done in putting something like this together. The whole club, she thought things like this didn't happen anymore. So her and my dad sort of came, and she goes, I can't believe this. So it's, when you get things like that, that's the important thing out of all this sort of thing.
Acknowledgement from the parents is very good. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Stepan, let's talk about the club as a whole. I mean, there's apart from the soccer, there's a lot of things that often go there. Club functions, community functions, with the famous St Albans car rally or car hot rod show, whatever that happens there. But there's other things as well, and other community organisations use it as well, including other soccer clubs. Yeah, how important of a hub is the soccer club to the Croatian community in that part of Melbourne?
Look, I think it plays a massive part, for the whole community and making sure that there's, like you said, a hub for people to come into and sort of, share stories, not war stories, but share stories of the past and share stories to the kids. And, it's amazing when you come on a Thursday night here and, the kids finish training and it's that loud in the sala here that it's, I want to push my training out, so I finish later, so I'm not in the sala when it's going chaotic and screaming kids. But it's really good to see. You see them playing, soccer on the dance floor, and it reminds you back when I was a kid, and I'm sure the rest of us. It sort of brings you back to the early days when we were younger. So it's
Good
yeah.
old
I think
days.
building that nationalism and understanding sort of where you come from. It's very important. I think
Yeah.
whether Croatian or whatever, but I mean it's pretty important. So
And
Now,
you've got
Dinamo,
that beautiful
go.
Hall of Fame up in the club there. Are you looking to increase the number of jerseys up there, Stepan?
look, I'd hope so. I'd hope so. We've had a few players come through the doors, so we've got some really good juniors coming through. It was good listening to North Geelong as well, and they've got some good juniors, and I think across the board, I think it's we've got, like I said, good juniors coming through. Gives them somewhere to come and sort of not be on the streets or something like that, which I think plays probably a bigger part. We won't probably see Mark Vidukas or Josip Skorpas. Maybe we will, but at the end of the day, we give them something to come to play and form friendships. At the end of the day, Kumovia probably people I've played with. So that's what speaks volumes, and friendships for life. So that's the most important thing. Connections.
Now, just to illustrate how much Dinamo is really involved in the community as well. A big shout out to Ilya Dragicevic, the club president, who approached me a few months ago and said, we are willing to sponsor some episodes this year coming up. So St Albans Dinamo have sponsored 3 episodes of the Oz Crows Soccer Show. So shortly in the next few weeks, we'll have a show devoted to St Albans Dinamo in much the same way that next week we've got a Western Knights. I was going to say Western United, isn't it, Dave Bush?
Wrong show.
Wrong show. Western Knights.
John
from
Aloisi.
Perth.
John Aloisi's coming on.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's a Croatian connection there as well. But I suppose
there is.
Western Knights from Perth, they'll be featured in next week's show, and then we'll probably get St Albans coming on next week. But thank you so much from on behalf of myself and Ante and everyone involved here at Oscro Soccer Show, to everyone at St Albans Dinamo for supporting the show. We look forward to having you guys on in a few weeks' time. But in the meantime, all the very, very best for the rest of the season, rest of the year, and hopefully, NPL, as far as the NPL, the team can go a little bit further north as opposed to south, and we'll have an electrifying NPL at least the second half of the season.
And they're still leading 1-0 in the Australia Cup, so that's good news.
1-0, yeah.
Who scored that? Do we know?
I'm trying to find out, but no one's replying to me yet.
All I've got is
as soon as you find out, send it to us in a chat in the comment section or whatever. If anyone there is either at the game, St Albans and Frankston Pines, or indeed the North Geelong Altona City game, and you know the scorers, pop it there in the comment section so we can all see. But on that note, Stepan, once again, thanks for coming on board, being one of our guests on our first episode this year. Wishing you all the very best.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. All the best.
Stepan.
Good on you. Stepan Galda, Juniors Coordinator out at St Albans Dinamo. Ante, it is important, isn't it? Like if we put up one of those photos again of the kids there, I mean, there's the girls, and you mentioned about how crazy girls soccer has gone in recent years, and it's great to see. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, if a Croatian girl said, I want to play soccer to a dad, the dad would have said, go to the kitchen. That's where
Zaboravi.
It's not like that, And as a proud dad of a young girl myself, it's great that these girls are getting so much opportunity. But our kids in general, third generation, in some cases fourth generation, the community is the way it is, unfortunately or fortunately, and really the football clubs are the one of the, if not the main catalyst for bringing the Croatian community together, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Torchy. I mean, it's brilliant to see. Not only in the grandstands, it's actually on the pitch, as Stepan mentioned, building those memories, building those networks, building, and you don't know down the track, you could be friends for life, you could be business partners, whatever the case may be. But it's just brilliant that people are connecting, and these clubs, obviously, predominantly, have a lot of Croatians in them, but there's a lot of non-Croatians coming in as well. And, it's just excellent to see that, those people are actually enjoying the Croatian culture and the Croatian clubs as well.
Yeah, something that Stjepan said, how someone of non-Croatian background actually came up to him and said, I can't believe you guys are organising something like this. This is fantastic. The one club that is really on Monday it's going to be the epicentre of the Victorian Croatian community, and a club that has really done a lot in bringing the community together. And on Monday, all roads lead to Summer Street. It's Melbourne Knights, Melbourne Croatia, celebrating its 70th anniversary. It's going to be an auspicious occasion. I'll get that out. When sister club North Geelong Warriors come along as well, and there's going to be all-day events. Now, we'll find out all about that and more on the other side of the break when we speak to the president of the Melbourne Knights Soccer Club, man very well known to the Croatian community, not just in Victoria but Australia-wide, Pavel Yusuf. He'll be joining us very, very shortly. Folks, don't go away. It's episode 31 of the Oz Crows Soccer Show. Welcome back to the Oz Crows Soccer Show. Now, Ante, when I think I've got a hectic schedule and there is just not enough hours in the day to get everything done, I just think of our next guest. This man must be the busiest man in the Croatian community in Australia. There is just so much going on at his club. And let's find out all about the big birthday bash happening on Monday from the man himself, the president of the Melbourne Knights Soccer Club, Pavel Yusuf. Pavel, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us here on the Oz Crows Soccer Show.
Thanks, Tonchi. Hi, Ante. How you going?
Hey, very well. How are you, Pavel?
Very good.
Now, mate, when I don't joke when I say you are very, very busy, because there's been so much going on at the Melbourne Knights in the last few months. But let's talk about the future. Let's talk about Monday, 10. Travan, 10th of April. 70 years ago, Melbourne, Croatia was formed in Footscray, in a house in Footscray. And the big 70th birthday celebrations happening this Monday. Tell us everything what's going on Monday.
Yeah, so obviously when the draw came out, we were really lucky. So the draw, the way that it works with the Federation is you get drawn a number and your number corresponds with a certain fixture and you follow a matrix. And it ended up being that we drew North Geelong for the weekend of Easter, and immediately we saw it was 10. Travan, and we were like, we have to play that game that day. We couldn't have picked better opponent other, Dinamo or North Geelong. So it's really, really exciting from that perspective, getting the community together, getting people together. I think it's going to be a really big day. We've got kids rides, for free prior to the game. We've got Steve Tivanovic from Sydney coming down to play the harmonica outside, extended beer garden that we did a version of against Bentley. And yeah, look, a birthday cake after the game in the club rooms. I think 10 years ago we did it and it was quite good. So hopefully this time it's a bit of a festa afterwards, regardless of what the result is.
Absolutely.
That is awesome, Pavel. Very exciting stuff. So what about on the field? Do you think the boys can do it against North Geelong? Obviously, they're going to be up for the game, being a derby.
Yeah, look, I think this league, anyone can beat anyone. It's a tough league. I know North Geelong, have parted ways with their coach, so and their results are not great, and they're probably hurting. So it's not like it's a given, that we're going to win that game. I don't think so at all. I don't think any of our players think that, and we need to respect every opponent, but especially a sister club like North Geelong. So Yeah, I hope we win, of course, our 70th birthday. But whatever happens. I can't really influence what happens on the pitch.
Yeah, but it
As
has
long as
been
there's
a
a
great.
fresh start after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, back on the field, it has been a great start to the campaign. Sitting fifth at the moment, and some good wins, a couple of poor losses, but nonetheless, overall, it's been a really good start to the season. You've got a young coach this year who's come from Queensland. He's very highly credentialed, and he's only I think some of the players are older than he is. Tell us more about this coach. And he just seems like a real long-term prospect for the club. How did you find out about him?
He absolutely is a long-term prospect for the club. I've kind of tracked his progress in Queensland over the last 3.5 years. Kept in contact with him, spoken with him, followed his results. Not only his results, but he's had, I think he's in the last 2 or 3 years, he's had 3 players that have gone from his club in the NPL directly to an A-League for a professional contract. So not only are his players quality, but they're prepared for that environment. So he's more than just a coach in the sense of he coaches a team and sets up a system and tries to do something. He's a bit of a mentor to his players, and his ambition is to coach at a higher level, not in the sense of not with the Knights, but with a long-term view of a second division, professionalizing, having a good environment, and he's all over the kind of statistical side of things, and those so-called 1%ers. He puts in a lot of time and effort to try and get the maximum he can with the time that he has, and he's full-time. He just coaches the Knights, and that's all he does. So he watches the game back a few times. He watches every other game in the league, and all those kind of things. So.
And he's only like 30-something, is that right? Or 32?
He's 35. He's
wow.
35.
Wow.
He took over as an Olympic coach, or he took on the job at Olympic in Brisbane as a 29-year-old and made, I think, 5 or 6 grand finals in a row with a team he essentially built. So, for example, Jez Lofthouse at Brisbane Roar is one of his players. Keegan Jilicic at Perth Glory is one of his players that he basically created, essentially. Mentored, molded, and brought to a certain level. Even just the mental side of things that he's contributed to. So couldn't be happier with him. Boys are happy. The team's playing good soccer. I think against Avondale on the weekend, we lost 3-0, and people look at that result and go, got pumped. But if you were at the game and you left at halftime, you would not. If you said the result at the end, you would say, Knights won 3-0. We had a lot of chances, didn't put them away. Their first goal that they scored, they were a little bit lucky in the lead up. There was a foul that wasn't given, and then so that kind of changed the course of the game. But in the first half, we absolutely dominated them. But the chances weren't put away, and they punish you. But I think as the team gels, just don't forget we've got 7 or 8 new players in the first 11. So it's essentially a new team. And to be in the position that we are in now, with the way that it's kind of coming together, I'm pretty satisfied, and I think most people would be in this early stage of the year.
Absolutely. You briefly mentioned the second division there. What are the next areas that we have to, or hoops that we have to jump over, and tell me how, are Melbourne Knights already preparing for the second division, and, what else do we need to do to get up there?
We absolutely are. Funnily enough, I was at the club just a bit before, and I had a board meeting, and we ran our scoreboard for the first time. So we've got an electronic scoreboard now after 70 years. It'll be ready.
Oh, wow.
Terrific.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
What?
It's
second division for sure. That'll get us in.
Just telling you got a scoreboard and they'll let you in. So with regards to second division, it's funny. It's the most, in Australian soccer generally, it's the most interesting topic, and it gains the most interest generally. A-League or fan or not, people are interested where it's going. I'm in constant kind of contact with Nick Galatas from AAFC, basically weekly, discussing where it's at, how it's going. I'm confident in the 20-page document that we put together as our proposal and submission, that we have a very, very strong case. I think it'll be a 12-team league, meant to be starting March next year. There's a potential. There's a potential for the league to be in summer, but at this stage it'll be in winter to begin with. There is a lot of interest around Australia. There's a few left field kind of. I think Ante, you'd know the Cronulla Sutherland one is an interesting one. I reckon they'll get in
Definitely.
only because of the cash. They'll get in.
They've got big backing. Yeah, the club,
Yeah.
The area that
rugby
it's
league
in as
club
well.
is cashed. Yeah,
The area that it's in as well. That's
absolutely.
where Craig Foster
Mm.
wanted to have his A-League team before MacArthur. So it may be.
Have they got the support though?
No.
I mean, they've got the money. Is that where all that matters?
They'll try and get the rugby league support, just like your old failed,
Yeah.
Parramatta Powers and things like that. We did have one semi-success in Northern Spirit up here, which for a couple of years got some decent crowds, but after that just fell away. So yeah. I mean,
It's
similar to
similar
your Carltons and Collingwoods, right?
Oh,
That happened in
Carlton,
Minnesota.
Collingwood, yes, remember that. Oh my goodness! Now, Parvet, with regards to the National Second Division, there's talk that if a club is successful in getting into the National Second Division, then they have to relinquish their NPL license. Does that mean that Melbourne Knights? Sorry,
it's partly true. It's not fully true.
So
the way it works is essentially our senior men's team will no longer be in the NPL. They'll leave. Everything below that will stay the same. So our 21s will still be in the NPL. Our 18s, juniors.
All right, cool.
So it's just a senior men's team, which is something that I was actually quite heavy on. I wanted that to be the case in our lobbying because for many years we've kind of taken the principled stance where we don't want A-League teams playing in the NPL with their reserves team.
Mm-hmm.
And so now what we're going to have our cake and eat it too when we're in the same position. I don't think that's right. Our senior men should be out of there. We put all of our concentration and energy in towards the National Second Division team. We're not hedging our bets here. We're going all in for the Second Division, and that's it. Because I know that RTO and a few other clubs wanted to, keep a team in the NPL and play in the Second Division. For me, that doesn't work anyway. I don't want to be running a team, two teams at the same time.
And part of the criteria is professional contracts, right? Does that mean professional players as well, full-time professional, or does it mean they can still be semi-professional?
Well, without giving too much away, that's worded in a way to appease a certain party within Australian soccer, and it doesn't really change anything that we do. If you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot happening, as we said. There's a lot happening so watch this space as far as the National Second Division, but certainly exciting times. But anyone even remotely contemplating whether or not to go to Melbourne Knights on Monday, well, there's a great reason to see the new electronic scoreboard in place. That's going to be fantastic. Kids rides, plus the big game at 4:00, North Geelong and North Geelong Warriors versus Melbourne Knights. But another big thing that happened recently was the visit of the Croatian Football Federation delegation to Sydney and to Melbourne. We had former Melbourne Knights legend Josip Šimunić in attendance, along with Zlatko Dalic, Stipe Pletikosa, and Marijan Kustic as well. Now, one of the things that's come out... Well, first of all, let's talk about that. How was that? Because there was a big function at the Footscray Dome as well. It was a season launch, wasn't it? And everyone was there in attendance. Wow, that was... You talk about season launches, and Melbourne, Croatia brings the Croatian national coach. I mean, these other clubs must have been a little bit envious.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they were envious. I think they were all there. Look, I've spoken to a few of the people involved in the other Croatian clubs in Victoria and around Australia. And I think everyone wants Melbourne and Sydney, Croatia to be at that top level because that's what those clubs were built for. They're not built to be in this league and competing against Dinamo and North Geelong in the sense of sme tamo jedan drugome, basically, and that's where the kind of the friction arises, I suppose. Not in a bad way. Like I look at other communities, and I think we're really, really good in sticking together. We might have our internal disagreements, but anything external, if we go to the federation, we're always a united front, which is really good. So from that side of things, I think life will be better for everybody, and I don't think that anyone was envious, let's say. But
I'm talking about the Hellas's and the Heidelbergs and the those clubs. No, I'm not talking about our clubs. I'm talking about the those clubs.
Maybe
I know. I'm reading a couple of comments, and there were like commentators from A-League clubs saying, wow, like this club, NPL club, has got that drawing power. And this is what we've been saying. It's our community. That's what it is. And for so long we've been shunned, and now we're on the edge of getting back to where we belong. So
I think that's where the friction with the A-League comes from, because they know that our community, not just ours, the Italians and Greeks as well, to a lesser degree, have better networks. It's as simple as that. We can pick up the phone and get to people that they can never get to. They haven't got those networks. They haven't got the history. They haven't got. They may have the bank account, but they've got nothing else. They can't call. Like last year, I called. Was looking for a striker. I called Zeljko Hadžić and I said, "Can you find me a striker in Croatia?" And so he gave me 4 or 5 options. Can they do that? No. And he's not the only one. There's 20 people I can call over there. It's likewise Sydney, Croatia. So yeah, look, it was last year. The Joe Šimunić, Petar Krpan, and Ante Kulušić came to Australia for like a pre kind of meeting to discuss how this camp was going to work to set it up. So that was mid last year, with a view to start in January. And we only found out that I'd asked them to bring Kostic. Dalic wasn't even kind of on the cards. He decided himself to come. So after that was his own decision to come. He wanted to come to within the community. And I said to him, whilst he was here, that was I don't think our community realizes yet the largesse that is, and the respect that he's shown us for the first community for him to come to is Australia. So I think that's a big deal that we'll kind of get over time. So yeah, look, they ran the camps. We had six coaches here. Basically, the whole top brass of the Croatian Soccer Federation, from the board side of things, as well as the national team coach, as well as the whole technical team. So you had Politicos and Krpan, which are the 2 top technical directors in various kind of roles, as well as their head instructors. So I think it was a good start, and it kind of starts off with a bang. And this will be a thing that happens every year. They'll give an opportunity for our kids to kind of learn something from some top European coaches, and hopefully, again, strengthen and renew old networks.
And part of that Domovina diaspora bridge, I guess, is the fallout of that is an Australian Croatian under-14 select that has been selected between boys from Sydney, Melbourne, and Geelong. And on Tuesday, you're all jetting out for a special tour in Croatia, where you're going to Vukovar, the city of heroes, to take part in an invitational tournament. Tell us a bit more about that. This is massive.
So this is the 23rd annual Turnir Hrvatskih branitelja in Vukovar. It's run by Hvidra, so like the Croatian RSL, and the city of Vukovar, as well as the HNS, like a 3-way kind of thing. Every HNL club sends their junior 14s there, as well as an Australian, Swiss, Austrian, German, USA, and Canadian kind of select sides. So there's 16 teams in the tournament. Goes over 3 days, which is the kind of traditional tournament time in Croatia is around Easter, their Easter school holidays. And yeah, so we're going on Tuesday. Tournament starts. So we get to Vukovar on the 13th of April for a tour of the city with the mayor, where they're going to show us, Ovčara and a few other museums and things like that, and a bit of an opening ceremony. Then games on the 14th and the 15th. Possibly a semi-final if we get through, and in the finals and a 3rd and 4th place on the Sunday, which will still be there for the Sunday regardless if we get through, just to watch, assuming it's Dinamo and Hajduk.
Far out. That is amazing.
How exciting for the players. Far out. It's so exciting.
Yeah, 20 years or so ago, Melbourne, Croatia organised, and Sydney, Croatia organised youth teams that went to the Kvarnerska Riviera. And one of those boys, well, there's lots of names that came out of that, but one of those guys that was involved was the Melbourne Knights youth player, Josip Lončarić, who happens to be one of the coaches, is that right, who's involved with this tour. So it's just fantastic now that the next generation is able to get such exposure. That's just absolutely incredible. And as you said, I think we realise just the scope of what is happening there at the Knights at the moment. It's
a once in a lifetime thing where, regardless if we might go there with the 14s team, we might be way off the mark, but it's still a once in a lifetime. You'll never forget experience as a kid to go to Croatia. Some people without their parents to go and play soccer. And see something and learn something and mature and meet people. I went to the Sydney Olympics final of the soccer. It was Nigeria it was Cameroon and Spain. Anyway, I looked back recently and I looked at some of the players that played. I didn't realize that Eto'o played in that game, Iniesta, Xavi, all these players. It'll be similar. There'll be players that come out of this tournament that these kids will look back on and go, oh, he plays for the national team now. Like the next, maybe not the next Modric, but in that vein.
Absolutely. No, very, very true. Jerry Balokovic has sent through a message saying Pavel doing a top job. So thanks for messaging
Jerry's
Jerry.
a good man.
And he is a good man. And Josip has also, Zilic has said, terrific initiative, Pavel. Long may it continue. See you Monday. So he'll be there on Monday as well, partying. So, Pavel, what I wanted to ask is you've started the 70th anniversary with Zlatko Dalic. Then you had Bebek. And now you've got the big festa happening on Monday. So what else is in store for the 70th? But have we got more plans? Is there going to be some more bands? What's happening? What's happening?
So we've got on the 27th of May. Maybe I should go chronological. This is an exclusive. This hasn't been announced yet. We've done a deal to bring out Tram 11.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Tram 11 is going to be coming out on the 11th and 12th of May. For a concert in Melbourne and Sydney. So if anyone doesn't know, they're a Croatian rap group. They've been around for about 20 years. They brought out an album last year that was really well received. And then the Yugoslavs in Croatia actually listened to the text and the lyrics, and they said, oh, no, we can't have that. So they got cancelled, fully cancelled.
Oh, wow.
Their label kicked them out. They basically on the street. And they ended up doing a deal with the label. They got the rights back for their album, but they have to sell it themselves. And they're Croatian like us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I think it's our responsibility as a community that's strong enough to bring out people like that because they keep the flame going back home. So that's one. Number two, we've got on the 27th of May at the Dom in Footscray, our 70th anniversary actual gala, like Zavava style kind of event where it'll be, a kind of more Svečano kind of thing. And then later in the year, I'll probably bring out another couple of bands as well.
There you go. Awesome.
Fantastic. Bring them on. Rob Stucker's message saying, great work, Pavel. See you Monday. Živjela Croatia. So there you go.
There you go. Pavel, City President.
Now, before we do go, apparently there's talk of expat Australian Croatians in Zagreb preparing a trivia night or a special celebration of Melbourne, Croatia in Zagreb. Now, the last time they organised this, apparently the great Mark Viduka attended, and there's talk that he'll be in attendance as well. Will you be there around about that time when that trivia night is held in? I think it's the Bornstein Wine Bar for those of you that know Zagreb well.
Yeah, I'll be there. So that's been organised by one of our ex-board members, Jozo Kolakušić, who moved back maybe about 5-6 years ago, and Rob Gojević. So Steve Gojevic's brother, Rob, was involved in the Croatian Olympic Committee for many years. I think he still may be.
Yeah.
So they've done a really good job with connecting with a lot of old players. So Ante Kuželek, for example, who played in the 70s, did an interview in the Vjesnik this week. He'll be there. You mentioned Viduka, Šimonić, Frank Jurić, Mark Šilić is over there. There's a few, Krešimir Marušić, Željko Ađić.
That's a great team.
Yeah, so there'll be probably about 30-40 people at this trivia. It's good to get together and celebrate the 70th in Zagreb, which will be a little bit kind of surreal, I suppose.
Fantastic. We might have to reach out to Jozo there and do a live cross or something like that if we just happen to have it. Here we go. Josip Žilić says, we'll just bring that up there. Joško Kolakušić is behind the trivia night, does a great job connecting Croats when we get to the motherland. That he does, absolutely.
So is Jozo the Tony Barber of the night, or who asked the questions?
Now you're showing your age, aren't you? Far out, Tony Barber. Yeah. Pavel, wishing you all the best, mate, over the next week. It's going to be a very, very hectic period for you, but no doubt it's going to be a very rewarding one. And, mate, I think on behalf of the Australian-Croatian community, thank you for what you're doing for Australian-Croatian football and the Australian-Croatian soccer scene. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I just want to say one more thing before I go. I think just a little bit historical about the club. I think it's really important for us to remember that. So it's our 70th birthday on Monday, 10th of April. That isn't a coincidence. You know, I know Sydney Croatia got dragged through the mud, but people can like it or not like it. But we as Croatians would not be in Australia if it wasn't for the 10th of April. Because if it wasn't for the 10th of April, there wouldn't be a Bleiburg. There wouldn't be persecution, whether economic or political, we wouldn't be here. So I fully expect after this game that there'll be people in the media saying, "Oh, they're fascists. They're 10th of April." I will defend it to the end. 7 Leeds Street, where the club was formed, was also the headquarters of the Dom at the same time, because the Dom didn't have a facility at all. Later on, they moved to Lonsdale Street, then Albert Park, then Footscray. So we just need to embrace that. Is my thing. You know, 10th of April was a massive day for Croatian people symbolically, and I'm not going to shy away from that. And if people don't like that, I don't care, because we you know, it's really ironic. My Bogwani father-in-law, he said it a while, about 10 years ago. Australia allowed us to be Croatian when we weren't allowed to be Croatian in our homeland, and now we're not allowed to be Croatian in Australia, but in your homeland you are. So everything's gone backwards.
Yeah,
everything's flipped around. But we are who we are. People can like it or not like it. Our club has a social and political purpose, and we won't shy away from that. And that's just the way that it is. And if that hurts us in the long run, well, it's happened in the past. I think our ideals and our club and our community endures because of our principles, not because you know we are pushed in this direction or that direction. I think that, you know, when it comes to questions like that, people within the community are receptive to leadership and saying, this is who we are, this is what we believe, and you can say what you want, and you know, it doesn't change what we think. You know, I'm not telling you to think that, but that's our position, and that's all there is to it.
Absolutely inspirational
well
words
said,
from
Pavel.
a community leader. And it reminds me of that song, Malo nas je, al nas ima, nije važno, srušit ćemo snove svima. On that note, Pavel, thank you very much for that. Good night, and sretan Uskrs tebi and everyone involved at the Melbourne Knights.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you soon.
Will do.
Sretan Uskrs.
Pavel Yusuf, the
Fantastic.
president of the Melbourne Knights Soccer Club. Wow, what a great interview that was, Ante. What a great way to finish off the first episode of Season 2 for the Oz Crows Soccer Show. Has been, we probably went a little bit longer than we expected, but, you know, it's been absolutely fantastic. So, folks out there who've tuned in throughout the night, thank
North
you
and
so
Dinamo
much.
are both up 2-0. So,
2-0.
there you go, update from Josip Zilic. Yeah, so they're both up 2-0. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. They will progress through to the next round of the
Just
Australia.
quickly, if anyone is interested in a signed Hajduk jersey for a great cause, go into CRO ANZ Social Golf Club on Facebook, and at the moment the bid is $2,000, and bids are closing on Good Friday at 10 a.m. So if you are after this season's Hajduk Split signed jersey, go onto the CRO ANZ Social Golf Club. And tonight we've got the big cup game, Šibenik versus Dinamo. Go Šibenik, right?
Yeah, that's right. All right, folks. On that note, let's close tonight's show with Sretan Uskrs to you all. Happy Easter to you all. We will see you back in a week's time, next Wednesday. And thank you for being a part of the Oz Crow Soccer Show's very, very first episode of season 2023. Good night.
And thanks for the nice comments as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Good night.
Lako noć.